This is basketball. But this is basketball in Scotland. Basketball here has always lacked a little bit of pizzazz, and by pizzazz, I mean money. It's one of the most popular sports in the UK, but investors just haven't seemed to notice yet. My name is Charlie Roscoe, and I like basketball. Join me as I discover the ins and outs of Scottish basketball, learning its history, understanding its players, popularity, and benefits, all to show you that basketball might deserve a little more money than it currently gets. While it was Scottish descendant Dr. James Naismith who invented basketball back in 1891, it took a while for basketball to come over to Scotland. The sport of basketball was created in a YMCA in Springfield, Massachusetts, after Naismith fixed 2 peach baskets to either side of the court and declared that whoever threw the most balls into the targets won.
The staff essentially asked him to develop a game to help almost pacify a series of students during the winter months. They needed a new indoor game.
The sport spread like wildfire across the states. Due to the sport's birthplace being a YMCA, basketball was passed from branch to branch. The scale of the YMCA's operation meant that basketball could quickly go international, being played in YMCAs across countries like China, France, India, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines. 4 years later, in 1895, basketball arrives in Scotland. The sport was first recorded in Dundee via the Evening Telegraph. Basketball, a feminine substitute for football, is all the rage among New York girls. As soon as it became known among the gymnasians, it spread like an epidemic.
One of the other main routes that it came through was through Scottish workers who worked in mills. Mill workers then sought work overseas where their expertise was required, many of whom found themselves in the Boston area. And then slowly, as some of these people started to return back to Scotland to visit family or to return to working over here, they brought the game back with them.
Word of the game spread around Scotland through newspapers, starting in Dundee to Broughty Ferry and Forfar, before reaching Edinburgh and Inverness. Local PE teachers started to try the sport in schools, and some clubs began to form. The first public Scottish basketball game was played on the 6th of February 1897 in Dundee. Viewers and critics were divided.
Most people actually appeared to enjoy the game. They thought it was quite impressive. It was quite fast, it was interesting, it was something new, it was a bit of a novelty, it was very quick, there was a lot of really interesting elements to it.
And the critics who didn't embrace basketball were just worried that basketball was so exciting that it might replace traditional Scottish sports.
One of the newspaper articles was quoted by a local sportsman saying that basketball was a game to be feared.
From here, however, basketball struggled to grow. Until World War II, when many Scots were introduced to the sport by their American allies. This post-war interest led to the formation of the Amateur Basketball Association of Scotland in 1946. This organisation formalised basketball with structure and system, which helped the sport become more legitimate in Scotland. Despite this, however, funding for the sport was still slow. Lack of investment has held basketball back since the beginning. So, basketball doesn't receive much investment, especially in comparison with other sports in Scotland.
I joke that if there was a computer issue or a laptop, someone's got an IT issue in basketball, then I'm the one that they come to try and fix that, whereas Scottish rugby, Scottish football have whole IT departments.
That's Colin Gregor. He's the head of operations at Basketball Scotland, and he shouldn't be fixing laptops.
We are heavily reliant on Sports Scotland for funding because we don't have the other income streams that Scottish rugby or Scottish football have.
But even public funding and Sports Scotland hold back on basketball. A recent government scheme called Cashback for Communities gave Basketball Scotland £450,000, which sounds fantastic until you look at the size of the grants given to other sports. The same scheme granted over £1.5 million to rugby organisations and over £2.5 million to football organisations. And unfortunately, this story repeats itself over and over again. The last direct investment into basketball from Sport Scotland was £280,000, divided over 2 years in 2016 and 2017. While Sport Scotland directly invest £802,000 into rugby every year, and between 2021 and 2025, over £20 million have been invested into Scottish football. So it's clear that there's a disparity in investment between these sports, and this lack of funding just makes basketball hard to play. Our outdoor courts are often in poor condition and sometimes just unplayable.
For any kind of more meaningful competition and things, they're probably not quite at that sort of standard.
And the indoor courts are scarce and expensive to hire.
Facilities are, they're one of the biggest stumbling blocks or challenges, and the increasing costs of accessing facilities.
With little subsidisation from external bodies, basketball clubs rely solely on membership fees to operate, creating yet another barrier to entry for new players. To put it simply, Scottish basketball's money problems limit opportunities to play. And people may think that that's okay because basketball is a niche sport, but the demand to play is absolutely there.
For me anyway, before doing Active Lives and the basketball stuff, I had no understanding that basketball was so popular. I always knew people liked basketball, but I never really thought about it too much.
According to Statista, as of December 2024, basketball is the 11th most popular form of exercise in the United Kingdom. Now, this is already a lot higher than many would consider, but the stats are even more surprising when we consider team sports only. Removing all types of exercise other than team sports leaves us with football, or soccer, in first place, with basketball behind it in second place, with only a 15% difference in popularity. And here, we can see the number of people participating in basketball from 2021 to 2023 in England. Though this graph isn't linked directly to Scotland, the popularity of basketball jumped by a whopping 19% from 2022 to 2023, and I think that this vast growth of basketball in England suggests that it's a trend that could apply UK-wide. And basketball is getting so popular that even some of Scotland's top universities are struggling to accommodate it.
So I think like the hunger and the appetite for basketball at Edinburgh Uni is pretty high. There's not really the facilities in Edinburgh Uni for it, and within Edinburgh on a wider scale anyway.
So now we know that basketball is far more popular than many people would ever imagine, beating even prestigious Scottish sports such as rugby. So why is it underfunded? Maybe it's just not inclusive enough? Well, while the majority of the basketball player base is children and young people, all ages can play the sport.
You can play it when you're 5, you can play it when you're 85. There's just ways of modifying it and evolving the game as well. Walking basketball, so yeah, you still get the kind of benefits of being active.
But a whopping 1.2 million youths play basketball on a weekly basis. Furthermore, of this group, 31.2% are female. Now this percentage could always be higher, but it's a lot higher than the 22% gender split in football, making basketball arguably more inclusive than the UK's favourite sport. But it's not just about gender and age.
But also from people from disability backgrounds. You know, for example, it's a lot more difficult to play wheelchair football and rugby than it is to play wheelchair basketball.
And basketball can cater to everyone, no matter where they come from.
Edinburgh Uni is such like a split uni in terms of nationalities, and it was cool to see that represented in a sport, which I think's pretty rare. I don't think you really see that in too many other sports, where there's such a mix of nationalities all playing one sport.
So here we have a sport that's incredibly popular, incredibly inclusive, but more than anything, it's just so good for you. Basketball is a fiery dance, throwing you from side to side. To keep up with the music, players must be quick on their feet, jumping, stopping, pivoting, hustling. It's this tango to the net that makes basketball one of the best sports for your body.
One of the things with basketball is you do basically all the kind of important movements that you're running, you're changing direction, you're running fast, you're stopping, you're jumping, you're kind of spinning, you're twisting. So yeah, a game that ticks all the kind of the necessary physical attributes.
Research shows that these movements from basketball improve muscular endurance, improve cardiovascular health, strengthen bone density, and help your stamina and agility. Thanks to these benefits, basketball is going to keep you alive for a lot longer. And let me tell you, if you're playing basketball, you're also going to enjoy your life a lot more too. The game helps people enjoy life by bringing opportunities for socialization. This immense sense of camaraderie improves communication skills and confidence.
I think also for me, like one of the main things for sport that helped me a lot was like confidence. I became way more confident to like speak to people and then just kind of back myself as well.
And a basketball team is a great support system for new players. You win together, you lose together, and you create an unbreakable bond with these teammates. Teammates and coaches become people that you can turn to when you're struggling, and this is insanely beneficial for mental health.
It can be a great thing, you know, simple things like just being able to speak to coaches, to your teammates, to share that connection, to actually build proper relationships that people need in their life to, you know, to be happier.
And despite basketball having so many benefits for your mental health and your physical health, I think basketball's most impressive trick is its abilities to change lives and communities.
We reopened Easterhouse Sports Centre in the East End of Glasgow a couple of years ago. And since that's opened, the police have reported a reduction in antisocial behaviour. We have the kind of stats and things saying, no, that's not fairy tale, that's not mythical, this is actually what happens in Scotland, and courtesy of basketball and the kind of impact it can have.
And basketball has such a high impact in these communities because this is where it's played. Basketball is known as the game of the BAME communities. 47% of all basketball players are from these communities in the UK. Basketball has the power to transform lives in these areas by providing a new skill set that can be applied to other aspects of life, including education.
If you've got people who learn to play basketball from a young age and they learn these skills, they can use them in their educational environments to help them excel there. They can transfer them to their personal life, to their professional life and their careers.
It brings people opportunities that previously were impossible.
If someone was watching this right now with the power to invest some sort of chunk of money into Scottish basketball, what would your message to them be?
Give us it.
Hand it over.
Yeah, the impact it could have on so many young people, and it's again, our focus is primarily on young people, but it's the young people that really need it, the young people that have barriers to participating in sport, just they have a lot of hardship in their life, and actually, yeah, the kind of more investment in basketball is investing in these people, and it's changing their kind of life path and the kind of trajectory of where they could be going to where they ultimately end up.
My message for anyone who can help the game, whether they have money or any kind of resource, is that basketball is a great tool. It will change a lot of people's lives, and that isn't something that's anecdotal, that's not something that should be taken lightly. Basketball is a serious tool, and it's not only impacted my life, it's impacting thousands of other people, and the game warrants a lot more attention, but the game can't grow or develop or reach a much further stage unless it gets support.
Basketball is popular, basketball is life-changing, and basketball is underfunded. And now it's up to you. Governing bodies need to know and understand that basketball is a sport that deserves investment. We deserve the money. So if you're like me and you're tired of limited opportunities to play and poor quality facilities, let people learn what you've learned from this video. As a basketball community, I really think we have the power to come together and bring a change.
You bastard! Let's see some makes. Oh, come on.